Hey folks, Rick here from the LaLa farm. Today, we're going to build us a door. Good morning folks. So, any of you that have been following the channel for a period of time knows that I've been working on this structure. This is the new garden structure. Been working on it for about a year now. Finally got most of the exterior wall done. Getting ready to spread that dirt probably this week or next week. That's going to fill in all the holes in here, mow this back down. But before we can finish completely the outside perimeter, we got to build us some doors. So the one that we're going to build today, kind of on tape or on that dated me, on video, is this door. So here's the door opening. So I'm going to have a door here. It's going to be the same as that door down there that's already installed. That's going to be that opening, the big opening in the front. That is so that we can bring the tractor, bring the truck in. There's going to be another door opening on the other side directly across. But this is the one I'm working on right now. So let me grab my trusty piece of notebook paper here. This is Rick's notebook paper. So this is dimensions for our door: 43 inches across, 80 inches tall, and this 40.5, I'm going to put a support across the middle of it at 40.5 inches. So the door that I'm going to be making is one that, you know, it's not something that I saw on YouTube or saw in a book or anything. It's just kind of one that I made up several years ago, and I've used it really for all of the structures around the farm. So here's one that we're going to be building. It works just like this. So the one that I'm building is just like this one, my handy dandy lock. So it's basically two 1x4s that are sandwiched together with this half-inch hardware cloth in between it. Okay, this is a super easy door to build. You know, going to the store, if you were to go to Home Depot and you were to purchase a door of that rough size, you know, you're probably looking at close to $100. I built that door for about $35, and it's not something. That door is not something that's it's super easy to build, but it's really adaptable. What you use it for really depends upon what your application is. So here we're going into our kind of dog kennel. So I've used that same functional design on this door. You'll see this one happens to be 2x4s that are sandwiched together, and instead of putting hardware cloth in the middle, I've put 4x4 cattle panels. Here's another of the same design. So this one is actually a 2x4 with 1x on the front with the same mesh in that, so you can see the side. So it really doesn't matter how you make it. The only thing that changes is what the materials are that you use to build it. Now those materials can change depending on the application. You want something a little bit beefier, use 2x4s. If that beefiness, I want something that's going to keep the chickens, going to keep the deers, basically a control point into the garden. I really don't need anything really beefy, so I'm just going to use 1x4s sandwiched together. Generally speaking, the whole door will take an hour and a half to put together. All right, so here we are out in the workshop, going to build this door. So if you recall, here's the dimensions that we're working with. So it is going to be 43 inches wide, 80 inches tall, and we're going to put a support divider right in the middle that's at 40.5 inches. So here's the material. So I've already pre-cut this or at least the first cut. So we've got two 80-inch. These will be the sides, this one and this one. This will be the top that will go here. The bottom, I guess it really don't matter. And this will be the one in the middle. I've already drawn a line here at 40.5 inches, which is where this one will cut across the middle, okay? So here's how we calculate the width of these. It's pretty straightforward, basic math. So we're using 1x4s for this build. This 1x4 is not 4 inches wide. It's actually 3 5/8 inch. So if we take 3 5/8 and we multiply that times 2, which is the width of the top, bottom, and that middle piece, it gives us a width of 7 1/4. We need this door to be 43 inches wide. So if we take the total width of 43, we deduct out the width of these sides, which combined is 7 1/4 inches, equals a length of 35 3/4. That is the width of these three pieces. So here's how this lays out. It's pretty straightforward. These are the two sides. There's either the top or the bottom, doesn't really matter. So that's basically the total dimensions of this door. It's exactly 43 inches from side to side. And we already know it's 80 inches top to bottom. So because this, we're going to be using hardware cloth, half-inch hardware cloth on this. That hardware cloth width-wise is 48 inches. We're only going to be using 43 inches of that. So let's go cut us some hardware cloth from the stock out behind the barn. So here's our wire that we just cut. Lay that on there. And when you're laying this wire on here, it's really easy. Just follow the grids to help you line the wire up on the wood. Now here's an important tip. When I'm putting the wire on, I don't go all the way out here to the edge, because sometimes I might cut this boards a little bit. I might cut them a little, or I may make the door a little bit larger. If I oversize it just a bit, I can take my saw and just kind of cut down this edge without touching the wire. So I generally go in about half the width of the board, and that's where I attach it. Now we just start laying this on here, and I want to try to line the wire up along the edge of this board the best that I can, again going about half the width of the board. Then I simply take my staple gun and start putting staples in, lining that up. Now I'm sure people are asking, well, what about squareness? And you know, if I was putting this into a door jamb where the dimensions were absolutely critical, then I would basically grab a square and I would be truing these up as I'm putting them together. That's what I said. I try to use just the squares on here. I built, I don't know, a bunch of these, and that's, you know, is it perfectly square? No, but it's pretty square. It's off by a 1/16 of an inch, which for a garden closure isn't that bad. So there's the basic skeleton of the door. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim off the excess wire mesh, or the wire on the sides, and then we will start putting the other boards on. Now there's a couple of ways that you can trim this wire off. You can just use a regular pair of metal shears. I tend to use my grinder because it's just a lot quicker. You know, I just run the grinder right down where I want to cut, and then instead of this taking me a couple of minutes, I get it done in 30 seconds with a grinder. So now that we have the skeleton done, now we're basically just going to put the additional boards going across, but instead of the boards going across though are then going to go from side to side, basically lapping these corners, lapping this in the middle and lapping on this end. And then we're going to put additional boards in between those from here to here, same thing on the other side, so that it holds this screen down. And when this is all done, it'll be a pretty darn sturdy door. So let's cut these pieces here. So we know that these are 43 inches. So we're going to cut 3 pieces at 43 inches that will go there, here, and here. So we're going to cut 3 pieces. One will go here, one will go here, and one will go here. Now if you're using 1x versus 2x4s, so 1x4s, then the maximum width that you're going to be able to, or the maximum length for the screw that you're going to be able to use is 1 1/4 inches. So that's what we're using to fix this. Drive them in just to flush. Now, what I don't do is attach all of these. I basically will go through and attach this to the corner. That way, if you put this in here, it's not straight, then you got to figure that out. You got to bend this to get it to the other end. So I just put one in on the corners, make sure that the board is exactly where I want it, and then I will go through and basically put 3 screws on each corner. So let's go to the other corner. Make sure this one's right where we want it, right about there. So I've now got this attached on both ends, so I will go ahead and put in the other screws. So I generally put 3 to 4 on each one. I'll put 4. We got a visitor, folks. Doofus come in to see me with 2 of his ladies. Now that we've got them attached on the ends, I go through and we attach the middle of those rails. And I put a screw kind of alternating from the top to the bottom of the rail. Left now is to go through and we're going to cut out these 4 rails on the sides. We're going to put them in here, attach them, door's done. That's all there is to this. So I mean, this is a super easy, fast design. I'd probably finish this in an hour if I weren't recording, but repositioning the camera and talking and everything, that slows me down. So again, this is a super easy, durable door. This is what I've used for all of the structures around the farm. So there's the door, all complete. Exactly dimensions. Would have taken me about an hour. Total cost in this is about $40. Made out of just 1x4s and some 1/2 inch hardware cloth. I think this one I actually ended up cutting 5 1x4x8s to make the wood for this, or to frame this up. And each one of those, I want to say I paid $375 for. So by far the most expensive part of this is the hardware claw. I buy it by the roll. I think that roll out there that I cut this from, if I recall, it's been a long time since I bought it, but I want to say it was like $190 for the roll. But I bought that probably 4 years ago because I bought 3 rolls, and part of that is what I bought to initially make the first chicken coop. So it's pretty old, so I think that's about what I paid for it. But total cost is, I'd estimate 30, 40, maybe 50 bucks tops, plus the screws. Let's put it in. All right, so there's the door. There is the opening. We're going to be attaching the gate on this side. I've poured this post. This is set in concrete to give me some extra support. So I'm setting it on this post. The door will swing in like this. So this is the side that we're going to mount the hinges on. So let's go ahead and get at it. So there we go, one completed door. All right, folks, I hope you found this informative, helpful. In the future, if you need to build a quick, cheap, functional door, this might be just the trick. Take care, folks. Remember, always treat others as you would like to be treated. Be well, my friends. Take care. Bye-bye.